Welcome to the Veterans Grown America podcast. I am your co-host, Coach R.L. Simmons. I am here with my illustrious co-host, Donnell Johns, and we have another special guest for you today. We have Mr. John Y. Ford. He is a realtor with Keller Williams. He is a realtor in the Manassas area. Let me not forget the most important thing. He is an Army veteran. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
No, we're happy to have you, John. Thank you for being on the podcast. I know you very well, but our audience wants to get connected with you. Let them know how you're connected to the military and give a little bit about your background and experience.
Well, I'm connected to the military personally and professionally. Personally, I grew up Army and went into the Army with no break in service. So from the moment I was born till I retired in 2015, it's always been my service to the country. I met my link to VGA. I met Donnell at a seminar or another mini convention somewhere. I don't even remember where. And I heard about the VGA, and it was a great idea, and I knew I'd never seen anything like it. So the moment I stepped into the store, I'm like, this is for me. This is family, and been with VGA ever since.
Nice. And you said you were with the military since you were born. So your parents served in the military as well, or what?
My father was career Army.
Wow.
He was sitting right next to me when I signed up.
He walked a recruiter into your living room, or was he a recruiter?
No. He didn't want to do that job, but he definitely was sitting right beside me when I signed the paper.
Nice.
So retiring in 2015 and essentially transitioning into entrepreneurship. What about your military training and experience led you into entrepreneurship?
Well, most of my career, I was actually in the reserves. I had many jobs, quite a few jobs while in the reserves, to include business financial specialist with Merrill Lynch. So I was Series 6 and Series 7 licensed. I knew the nuts and bolts about business and how money transacted. I worked as a logistical sales representative for a large company. Then I did more transportation and logistics when I was in Afghanistan from 2013 to 2015. And I always loved the business side of the Army. And then one day the company I was working with in Afghanistan went bankrupt. So I had to shift and lift fire. Yeah. And wife said, well, you're good at sales, and you'd always been interested in real estate. And I'd always liked it. I really did. And thanks to a Readiness Across America event in Manassas, I was talking to a group of folks, and the lady there, Robin's wife, she was an agent with Keller Williams, also career Army, said, hey, we're hiring. If you're looking to get your license, come see me. And this was almost 2 years ago. So she led me by the hand initially, and guided me on the right steps. Got licensed and got right to work. I've loved it ever since. Again, just about a couple of years, but been busy ever since.
Wow. So 2 years into entrepreneurship. So let me ask this question. You just told us about your experience in joining this, but has entrepreneurship always been in your spirit, or is that just something that you decided to do after attending that event?
It always been with me.
Like, where did it start? Were you a kid in high school? Where did entrepreneur? How did you get interested in? What inspired you to start your own business?
When I was in the right position, again, being a real estate agent, because we're 1099 contractors, so we really do work for ourselves. We promote ourselves, even though I work with a large company. But I guess my first taste of entrepreneurship was, when my dad was stationed at Fort Hood, and I'm, trying to join up some business, cutting grass on post, going from door to door. Hey, do you need your lawn mower? Hey, I live just down the street. Let me cut your grass.
No, not very many people had the heart to do that. So growing up and knocking on doors, door to door, saying, "Hey, let me cut your grass," is a real start to entrepreneurship. So did you make lots of money doing that?
I made enough to put gas in the car.
No, that's good. So let me ask you a little bit about being a realtor in Manassas. What are some of the biggest things that people should know about as they're looking to purchase a new home? What are some of the things let's talk a little bit about processes. What are some of the processes that they should be aware of?
Well, at the times I've been to BGA and the networking events, I'm still surprised to this day on how little our fellow veterans know about their VA benefits. I mean, the last time I was VGA, I talked to a lady who didn't know that when you're 100% disabled, you don't have to pay a funding fee for your loan, and that most of the fees are waived because you're 100%. And I had thought by this time, when you're going through the transition process, you're given that information. But the more I speak to folks, the more I realize, hey, we need more people out there to tell our veterans these benefits are for you. Use them. So we go through the home buying process step by step. We go through the home funding process step by step. Uh, Providing information is the key to success, and using that information.
So I got another good question, and I kind of hear cart before the horse type of deal. So I would like for you to kind of elaborate on it. So a lot of times people will go out and they'll get a realtor without having, and they want to look at houses without having understanding of how much they would be funded for the mortgage. So what does that look like? Should I go to my should I go to my realtor and have my realtor take me to a loan officer? Should I find a loan officer first? How does that process work?
It depends from realtor to real, but I see it this way. It's better to look, to work with a realtor already knowing what you're qualified. So 9 times out of 10, when I'm speaking to first time home buyers that are completely fresh to buying their own home, and again, this includes not knowing what their worth is. Like, hey, let me pair you up with a preferred lender to get you not only pre-qualified but pre-approved. Getting that letter to say this is how much you purchase. Because the worst thing to do is to go looking at a house. You see the price, and then going back to a lender and knowing that you can't afford it. That kills your motivation. But if you have that pre-approval letter saying, hey, that you are pre-approved for like $850,000, and you look at a home and it's 820, 830, and you can afford it, because again, the lenders go through each and every line item in your pre-approval process, how much you can afford. Like, yeah, I can afford this house, so I'm going to look at it with the eye of a real potential owner, as opposed to maybe I can get this house. Education is key.
Oh, that's good. Now, I have a question more specific to active duty service members. A lot of times, we initially at our first duty station, we become first time home buyers, and then we use that VA loan, and then we essentially end up PCS, and some of us sell our houses, and some of us will rent our houses out. Now, for the ones that actually rent their houses out and it's time to PCS, can they use their VA loan again?
This is another time where education is key. You can actually use your VA loan more than once, and it's like every 3 years. People think, and again, I run across people like this all the time. Yeah, I can only use my VA loan once, and that's it. No,
Yeah, in my work, I get that question a lot. Not even a question, it's more of a halt to a process. They'll basically say, I already used my VA loan. I say, it's not a one and done thing, right? Gotta learn how to rinse and repeat. That's how you build generational wealth while you're in the service.
there are active duty members and veterans who have become millionaires because they've been able to reallocate their VA loan and then transfer the profits they've made on previous homes into purchase of another investment property. The VA loan is only a stepping stone, but
Absolutely.
knowing that you can use it and you can use it more than once, that's
Yeah, it's power. It's power right there. It's a
I think,
very underutilized benefit.
very, very.
and so what would you say is your superpower as a realtor that can definitely help out someone, especially in the military, buying a house?
I know the system well, but I always like to bring in the story. I've been there. I've been that soldier getting out and purchasing the first home. So I know the process can be tough. But the more you're educated, the more you work with people who have been there and done that. That makes the home buying process a lot easier and a lot less painful. One thing I love to do when veterans like bring in their children, and you can tell that they've PCS probably a couple of times or so. It's like, ooh, yay, another house. but make it exciting for them. It's like I talk to the after I introduce myself to the parents, I introduce myself to the children, especially if they're older children. I say, hey, go ahead and pick out your and really sometimes most of the time they actually pick out the parents' room as their own room. But I tell the kids I have been that kid. Every 3 years or so, time to time to pack up and move. When you have that connection, when you show empathy and sympathy, because you've been there and done that, that tells them, hey, I'm working with someone that knows what they're doing and they know who I am because he's been there and done it.
Nice, nice. What advice would you give an individual, that they've never bought a house before and they're looking at, you know, getting into the market? What advice would you give them?
Well, now is actually a good time because rates have eased quite a bit. We're talking conventional maybe at 6.2, and then federal loans just under 6, actually between 5.6 and 5.8. I mean, that's not to say because the people this is first time. We've got veterans who've had VA loans when they were 2s and 3%. We're not there yet. Don't know when we're going to go back there. But considering the last several years, now is a great time to buy.
Yeah.
And you got people, people that hem and haw about purchasing a home, trying to wait. If you're waiting, if you're waiting for the market to, to do better or for interest rates to drop any more, you're going to wind up, losing that moment.
Yeah.
So look now, get with a lender now to lock you within rates. We're actually recommending people that for first-time home buyers to go ahead and get in it. The percentage right now is almost a trigger point for many people. Additionally, if you're looking to refi a home that maybe you purchased a home within the last 3 to 5 years, now again is a good time to refi.
No, I think people, when it comes to buying a house, it's either you're going to get a great price or a great interest rate, but you can't have both, and
Area for sure.
yeah, well, I take that lie back. I've seen prices go down, but the entire market crashed. That probably happens, once every 20 years. And so if they're waiting 20 years for that to happen, it's going to be a long time. And so
2008 was
the last one.
was a rough period.
Yeah. But look where we are right now. I don't think that we're 2008, so they got a long time to wait for.
But now we're sort of balanced between a buyer's market and a seller's market. The seller's market because sellers are kind of like reducing their prices just to sell what they've got at a semi decent price. And then on the flip side, you have a buyer's market because interest rates are easing now. We'll probably see maybe another reduction. I think with the next I think 3 or 4 months. It's not.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe towards the off season, like spring and summer is really the big pushes because that's when everybody is moving and that's when the houses look prettier and everybody's out for. But then in the off season, you start to see prices go down because people are not as much but we don't know what not just the price, but the actual interest rate. We don't know what it's going to look like. So, I mean, I would look to purchase if I'm looking at prices, but the interest rate, that's something that you can't bank on. I do
Correct.
have some questions that hopefully kind of will help enlighten the audience. So a lot of challenges and again, maybe it's not challenges, it's just uninformed or just ignorant to the fact they just don't know. For VA loans, what does it look like as far as your credit score and debt to income ratio in order to get for a home? And we can just throw out some soft numbers for examples if we need to.
One of the greatest benefits for VA loans and that it's easier to get a loan if your credit score is lower. There have been people that have gotten a VA loan with a 580 or a 620 credit score. You don't have to have perfect credit. Now, technically, the way it's worded, it really doesn't matter how low your credit score is. You can still be guaranteed a loan. But for a lender to be comfortable, 620, 680 is good. But again, technically, you can have a 520 credit score and still get a VA loan.
And that's a really good point. And again, I think the debt to ratio plays a little bit of factor in what that loan looks like. But my other question would be, does that credit score affect your interest rate?
No, because just because of the how should I put it? Just because the intent of the VA loans is meant to have a lower interest rate than any other type of loan,
Conventional, right?
especially conventional.
Yeah. And so that is I think number one, John, I really appreciate you for kind of debunking a lot of things, because a lot of times service members and veterans, they don't have this level of education, and some of the education that they will have, they may not be asking a veteran or a current service member, being that you are all of that wrapped in one. Hey, I'm a realtor and a former service member, and I can outline what that is supposed to look like for you. I think you help out anybody that's listening or watching this. Hopefully that conversation has made you become more hopeful, because a lot of the rebuttal that I get is, hey, why don't you just go purchase a home? And this is like from soldiers who's like PCS, like my sister, my brother, for example. I'm like, hey, just go buy a home. Then they're moving to Kansas where you can get a home for like 170. And they're like, hey, well, our credit score 6 something. And I'm like, it's perfect. Let's just go for it. But they don't, because they hear you need to have this much down, and like, go get the answers from your realtor before you doubt all of the YouTube and TikTok you've been watching. Go get the real answer from an expert. And I appreciate you for sharing that.
Yeah, one of the other thing is you do not have to have 20% down on a house. That's like the biggest myth. Everybody is so locked in about having, you got to have 20% down in order to buy a home. No.
What do you have to have down for a VA home loan? How much?
And
The-
it's amazing, because that is definitely, when you're dealing with specific realtors, as you can tell, I work with a couple of realtors, specific realtors, they are able to really, and that their job, which is why you get a good realtor, is to work out that piece, because you may have a selling realtor, and then you have the buyer's realtor, and they're going to negotiate how that money goes, especially because there's so many fees in between, again, unless you're 100%. But again, you have sellers fees and things like that, but that good realtor is going to
You're breaking up.
negotiate all of those prices. Yeah, that may be on my end, this Fort Meade connection.
I've been up there.
Yeah. And I think he makes a good point is, people really don't know or even understand the benefit, the extra benefit of having a VA home loan, that 0% down, that guaranteed percentage rate, the fees. If you're 100% permanent total, you may not have any fees to go along with it. I think, some great advice, or you can, share the great advice, with individuals. If they fall within the category of being a veteran or a current active service member, I highly recommend going to see a realtor like John and finding out the answers first before disqualifying yourself.
100%.
And one thing that most veterans will find when they work with a veteran who's a realtor is that, because of our mutual service, I know for me, I'll speak for myself, that I give discount. Not only for my services, but I also provide 1 year of home warranty.
Oh, wow.
Comes out of that my pocket. Because again, it's almost like with any company that provides the service, especially to veterans, they provide a discount. Like, hey, we have done a lot for our country. It's just a good handshake that that we provide that I guess that added benefit to our fellow veterans.
Yeah, I concur. In my first house, we worked with a veteran realtor, and that dude was so good. We had, and I say he take care of us, and again, me and him actually became friends after, and hung out, and he was actually trying to get me to become a realtor. But he did so good that not only did we buy the home, had 0 down, but I think we received like $2,500 back.
That's correct.
I was like, how?
That does.
I mean, I just bought something, but he took care of us. No regrets.
Yeah, with all the benefits, with all the provided closing costs, that many veterans actually wind up at closing getting money back instead of having money deducted from from the closing costs or have you to pay something.
Yeah, completely took care of us. I was just like, I don't know. That was again first time. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be like this every time. People they got a high standard to meet next time. That was amazing.
And I guess in this local market or regional market, we've got quite a few people are actually looking for. Do we stop?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, we've got folks that they're looking for resale homes, but it's starting to pick up where people are looking for brand new homes. When you know when you look at someone else's house and you're looking at a brand new new construction home, when all things being equal, the size of the house, the yard, and the number of rooms, if those numbers are starting to equal, people are more often than not opting for new construction. We've got
Yeah.
a handful of great new builders or new construction builders in this area that's where it's happening.
Oh, that's good, bro.
I got one more question. I actually just learned this not too long ago. But and it's another thing that a lot of veterans may not know about. But I'll just ask the question: is there a way that if you have a veteran who owns a home that they can not necessarily sell the home to them, but just allow the other veteran to assume the loan of the home?
I mean, VA assumption.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's just as you said, selling from one veteran to another veteran. If you both have your certificate of eligibility, then that purchasing veteran can assume the loan either at the same price, I mean, at the same interest rate, or if it's refinance, it might be better depending upon the market.
Yeah, and the one piece about that is I learned about it, but then when I started because that's my little pastime is I'll look through Zillow or Homes.com, and then it says a assumable loan like in the home description, and I was wondering, hey, what is that? Somebody broke it down to me. I thought it was a very neat aspect that people should be or know or be educated about.
Do you need a realtor to go through the assumable home process?
Not really. Technically, you if you own your home and want to sell it and you have an assumable VA loan, you don't have to go through a realtor. However, on the back end, if that lender is working with that VA loan, 9 times out of 10, they're going to require you to have a realtor because of the paperwork itself, that's involved. And we've got folks on the website Military Buy Owner, people selling their own home. Some of them have VA assumption loans, but you have to really do your work in order to get that through, to understand the paper involved.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll get clients saying, "I'm tired of the work. I don't want to sell my own home anymore. Please help me out."
Yeah, sometimes it's just better to have a realtor.
Yeah. It's nothing like a professional.
Understand.
Especially to take all that paperwork, weight away from you.
Absolutely. So, John, let me ask you this about VGA. So let's focus on VGA a little bit. Can you tell our members or the people that are watching the audience about your experience with Veterans Growing America?
Other than the fact that I love it and my wife loves it, who's a veteran too, just the networking events, the people that show up to tell us about ourselves, how we can take care of others to make a bigger and better impact on our community, not just Woodbridge and Manassas, but beyond, because we know as veterans our world is not where we sit; it's everywhere else or around us. But it's still carrying on that sense of family that many of us have been used to. Well, for me, pretty much my entire life, and for others, their entire adult life. So carrying on that sense of family, I think is probably the best description I can come up
I love that. We are happy to have you as a member of Veterans Growing America. It's an honor to have you be a part of us. So, thank you for being a part of the team.
with. Thank you for having me.
Hey, so before we get out of here, I want to know if you have any parting words for the guest listeners and viewers.
If you don't know something, ask. If you're unsure about your VA benefits, if you're unsure about how to sell your home or how to go, even if you want to rent, if you're unsure, ask. That's all we're here for. We're here to ask, to answer your questions. We're here to guide. We're here to provide mentorship necessary.
And so how can people get a hold of you if they're looking to purchase a home or sell their home? How can they find you?
Almost everywhere. I'm at VGA. I'm on the VGA's directory. You can find me at jy.kw.com. My email address is jy4properties@kw.com. My number is 703-232-0773. You can just Google John Y. Ford anywhere, and you'll find all my connections.
I love it. I love it. Hey, Donnell, how can people continue to support Veterans Growing America?
I want to turn the question back to you and have you tell us a little bit about you and how they can get in touch with you and the work that you do, and then we could talk a little bit about VGA.
I love it. I love it. It's perfect timing. As you can see, I am a full spectrum financial coach. I thoroughly enjoy teaching people about each and every aspect, especially marginalized families and veteran families. We need this education. And essentially, when we talked about, becoming a generational millionaire as a active service member by simply taking a benefit that you already have and something that you're going to do anyways and buy a home and then just continue renting the process. What I like to do is educate. I think education is the most important thing, but the fine balance in between what I do and what everybody else does is everybody understands that people need education, but they want entertainment. So I supply entertainment and education at the same time. So you can find me at where we can sit down and do a financial audit. And what we can do is look at what it is that you want to do financially, and we help you walk through each step and get there, whether it is buying a home or making your credit better to buy a home, or I have everything, investments, estate planning. We put all of those things together because I want you to be able to walk through that full process and really say that you're financially free because of the education. Now let's talk about VGA.
Absolutely. So y'all heard him over there. Everything finance. I don't know if you guys, when you watch this, we may be outside of the government shutdown, but this is a time that you would wish, I said it right, wish that you had your finances together, especially during the government shutdown, and you have to figure out, how you gonna make it through this month or so. I hope the shutdown closes down by the end of this week, but what if it doesn't? You got to make sure that your finances are in order. So I highly recommend my brother R.L. Simmons, coach over there. But let's get back to VGA.
Hey, before we take that step, I think this is a great opportunity for a point of education, right? So we talk about having a maintenance fund and an emergency fund, and ensuring that as you're stacking that emergency fund that you have a 6-month buffer. So whatever it is to take to pay off your bills within 6 months, that's what your emergency fund should look like. Now, should you just like dump a whole bunch of money in that? No, but you should be, when we talk about creating a savings, you should be saving a little bit and a little bit putting it in that fund because you're building that nest egg. And then let me give you just another step of that education. That fund essentially goes into a high yield savings account. So you're putting that money in a high yield savings account. And now if the emergency ever happens, is there and you can borrow from it. If the emergency never happens, you're still getting 3 or 4% gaining off of that money. So I think this is a really good, and I'm glad you brought that up, a really good point. So if you're in a tough spot, definitely you're in my thoughts and prayers. If you have a little bit of a buffer, then you're doing good. But at the end of the day, this piece of education is just to know that stuff does happen and you need to plan accordingly.
Absolutely. And y'all know how to find them. Do they know how to find you?
Yourmoneygoat.com. YOURGOAT. I can't even spell MoneyGoat. MoneyGoat.com.
So findyourmoneygoat.com. He could also be found on the Veteran Business Directory, the VGA directory. And then speaking of Veterans Growing America, the first place that you should probably go and find us is our website, veteransgrowingamerica.com, where we have both of these two gentlemen listed on our directory, as well as the events that we have that showcase veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs, or you can meet us at our many locations. One being the Woodbridge, Virginia store, where you can support veteran entrepreneurship. We have several different businesses in there and several events that will uplift and educate you on what you need in order to succeed. Y'all come back now, you're here.
Jump, baby. Jump, baby.
I want to blow your minds right now. In addition to your veterans benefits, for housing. Did you know that you could also stack or layer other programs, as if there's like if you're qualified for an FHA loan, or any other type of federal loan, even if you qualify for another, if you wherever you bank, if they provide some type of funding for you, you can stack that in addition to.
I didn't know that.
That's a new one. That's a new one. I might need to pick
Yep.
your that off camera.
Yeah, that is. I didn't know that. Yeah. So if you guys are watching this, contact my brother John down there, John Y. Ford. You can go to the Veteran Business Directory and find him. You could actually message him through that directory and get more information on that. Ladies and gentlemen,
We are over and out.